Chapter 1. A Boy Found Out. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and green meadows, there lived a boy named Raju. He was a bright young lad, always curious about the world, but he grew up in a poor family that struggled to make ends meet. His father worked as a farmer, and his mother sold handmade crafts in the local market. Raju helped out wherever he could, but he was most fond of learning and reading. However, the village school where Raju attended only taught in the local language. Though he was one of the brightest students in his class, Raju never understood why some of his friends spoke about English as if it were something important. To him, English was just a foreign tongue that people in cities used. It didn't seem to have any place in his simple life. Why should I bother learning it? He thought. I'm going to stay in this village like my father and grandfather. One day, Raju's older cousin, Samir, came back from the city. Samir had studied there for a few years and was now working as a tour guide for foreign visitors. The entire village admired him, and even Raju looked up to him. During a family gathering, Samir told everyone about his adventures. "I've met people from all over the world," Samir said proudly. "Europe, America, Japan. They come to see our beautiful country. And you know what connects them all? English." Raju was puzzled. "But we don't need English here, do we? Everything I need is in my own language." Samir smiled. "You're right, Raju, but what if you want to see beyond our village? English isn't just a language, it's a door. It opens opportunities, lets you communicate with people from different places, and helps you access knowledge from all over the world." This idea stuck with Raju. He couldn't stop thinking about what Samir had said. The next day, Raju asked his teacher at school, "Sir, why don't we learn English here?" The teacher, though kind, shook his head and said, "The resources in this village are limited, Raju. We barely have enough teachers to cover the basics. Besides, English isn't necessary for most villagers." But Raju wasn't satisfied with this answer. That evening, while sitting by the river, he wondered if he would ever get a chance to learn. He had a dream. He didn't know what it was yet, but it felt big, and somehow he sensed that learning English would be a part of it. Days passed, and Raju continued his routine of helping his parents and going to school. But now, every time he saw a book or heard a story about the wider world, he felt something was missing. He needed to understand that mysterious language, the key Samir had spoken about. One morning, while walking through the village, Raju overheard a conversation between some villagers. They were talking about an old man who had returned to the village after many years of living abroad. He was known as Master Anand. It was said that he had once been a teacher in a big city, and he spoke English fluently. Raju's heart skipped a beat. Could this be his chance? Without wasting a moment, he rushed to Master Anand's house, a small cottage on the edge of the village. Nervous but determined, Raju knocked on the door. An elderly man with gentle eyes opened it. "Yes, young one?" he asked, his voice calm and warm. "Sir," Raju began hesitantly, "I heard you know English. Will you teach me?" Master Anand looked at him for a long moment, as if weighing Raju's determination. Then he smiled. "Learning English is not easy, But if you're willing to work hard, I will teach you." From that day on, Raju would visit Master Anand every afternoon. His lessons began with the alphabet and simple words. At first, Raju found it difficult. The letters looked strange, the sounds unfamiliar. But Master Anand was patient. "Remember, Raju," he would say, "learning a new language is like planting a seed. At first, it doesn't look like much, but with care and time, it grows into a strong tree." Weeks turned into months. Raju began to read simple sentences, then paragraphs. He learned new words every day, and slowly, English became less of a mystery. Master Anand didn't just teach him grammar and vocabulary. He showed Raju how English connected him to a larger world. They read stories about faraway lands, discoveries in science, and great leaders who had changed the world. One day, Raju asked, "Why did you agree to teach me, Master?" The old man smiled. "Because, Raju, when I was your age, someone taught me the same thing. I grew up in this village too, but I wanted to see the world, and English was my key. It helped me travel, learn, and understand different cultures. Now, I've come back to share what I know with those who seek it." Raju's confidence grew with every lesson. One day, Samir returned to the village again. This time, Raju greeted him in English, much to his cousin's surprise and delight. "I knew you could do it," Samir exclaimed. "Now you can speak to anyone, go anywhere. The world is yours." But Raju had more than just dreams of travel. He realized that English wasn't only a language for distant lands, it was a tool for growth. He started helping his mother sell crafts in the market by talking to tourists, explaining the beauty of their handmade work in their own language. Sales improved, and Raju felt a deep sense of pride. Years later, Raju became a well-known guide in his village, much like Samir, but he also became a teacher. He followed in Master Anand's footsteps, teaching children in the village not only about English but about the power of learning itself. His journey had come full circle. Raju now understood why learning English was important. It wasn't just about speaking to foreigners or traveling to distant lands. It was about opportunity to learn, to connect, and to dream bigger than the confines of his small village. It was about growth, both for himself and his community. And through his journey, he showed everyone around him that knowledge could change lives, no matter where you started from. In the end, Raju had unlocked the door that English had opened for him, and with it, he found not just success, but a deeper purpose: to inspire others to learn and grow. Chapter 2: Raju's Path to Learning English. After his realization about the importance of learning English, Raju became even more determined to master the language. With Master Anand's guidance, he had learned the basics, but now he wanted more. He began to hear about various methods and techniques to improve his English, and soon he was overwhelmed by all the options. Everywhere he turned, people seemed to have different advice. One friend told him that he should focus only on reading English newspapers. Another suggested watching English movies with subtitles. Someone else mentioned that speaking English every day was the key to fluency, while a villager who had traveled abroad swore by listening to English music and imitating the singers' accents. Raju's head spun with all these ideas, and he didn't know which path to follow. One day, while sitting by the river and watching the water flow steadily past, Raju thought about his confusion. I know English is important, but there are so many ways to learn it. How can I know which is best for me? Frustrated and feeling lost, he decided to visit Master Anand again. He rushed to the elderly teacher's cottage and, without knocking, burst into the room. Master, I don't know what to do. I've learned the basics, but now everyone is telling me different ways to improve my English. Some say I should read, others say I should listen. What's the right way? Master Anand, who was sitting calmly by the window, chuckled softly. Raju, you're like a traveler who's reached a fork in the road and doesn't know which path to take. But the truth is, there is no single road to mastery. Raju frowned, still confused. What do you mean, Master? Come, sit with me, Master Anand said, gesturing to a chair by the window. As Raju sat, the old man continued. There are many ways to learn a language, just as there are many ways to cross a river. Some people build a boat and sail across, others might swim, and some might walk a longer route and find a bridge. The method depends on the person and their strengths. But how do I know what my strengths are? Raju asked earnestly. Master Anand smiled. The first thing you must understand, Raju, is that there's no rush. You don't have to choose just one method. Learning a language is a journey, not a race. Try different techniques and see what works for you. The key is balance. Reading will help you understand the structure of the language. Listening will attune your ear to how it's spoken. Speaking will build your confidence. Writing will improve your clarity. Raju nodded slowly, starting to feel a little less overwhelmed. So, I should try all of them? Exactly, Master Anand said. You will find that some things come easier to you than others. That's natural. But don't give up on the more difficult parts either. It's the combination of reading, listening, speaking, and writing that will make you fluent. And remember, practice is more important than perfection. Raju felt a sense of relief wash over him. He had been so focused on finding the right way to learn English that he had forgotten the joy of learning itself. He realized that he didn't have to be perfect right away. He just had to keep practicing, one step at a time. The next day, Raju made a plan. He started reading a few pages of English newspapers every morning, trying to understand the stories with the help of a dictionary. In the afternoons, he would watch short clips of English movies or listen to songs, pausing to repeat the words and phrases until they felt familiar. In the evenings, he met with a few other students who were also learning English, and they practiced speaking together, correcting each other's mistakes without fear or embarrassment. As the weeks passed, Raju found that his confidence grew. The words he once stumbled over now came to him more easily. He could follow conversations better, and he even began helping some of his younger cousins with their English lessons. His speaking wasn't perfect, and his accent was still strong, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that he was making progress, and he was enjoying the process. One day, as he was walking through the market, he overheard two foreign tourists struggling to communicate with a local shopkeeper. Raju felt a surge of excitement. This was his chance. He approached them and, in his best English, offered to help. "Excuse me, can I help you with directions?" he asked. The tourist smiled gratefully, and soon Raju found himself translating between them and the shopkeeper. It wasn't flawless, but the tourists understood, and they thanked Raju before they left. It was a small moment, but for Raju, it felt like a victory. He had used the language he once thought was too foreign and distant to make a real difference in someone's day. That evening, Raju visited Master Anand again. "Master, I used English today to help some tourists in the market," he exclaimed. Master Anand smiled warmly. "I'm proud of you, Raju. You see, it wasn't just the techniques or the methods that brought you here. It was your curiosity, your persistence, and your willingness to keep learning even when it was hard." Raju beamed. He finally understood that learning English, or any skill, wasn't about finding the perfect method. It was about being open to trying new things, being patient with yourself, and most of all, enjoying the journey. As he walked home under the stars, he felt that the world around him had grown just a little bigger, and his dreams a little closer.